Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going behind the scenes to see how this company, ASKT, is like totally changing how European businesses get furniture samples from China.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're all about speed and quality, and we got their whole process laid out right here.
Yeah, this document really shows how much goes into it.
So have you ever like wondered how that awesome sofa you saw online goes from just like an idea to being in your living room?
It is a wild ride for sure.
Well, get ready to be surprised because today we're diving into the world of furniture sourcing.
It's more interesting than you might think.
All right, so we all know the furniture world moves super fast.
Oh, yeah.
Trends change like constantly, and if you're a buyer, you really can't be waiting around for months to get a sample.
You'll miss the boat for sure.
So how does ASKT make sure you're not stuck selling yesterday's news?
Well, they've got this thing they call accurate supplier matching.
Accurate supplier matching.
Yeah, and this is where it gets really interesting. You might think all suppliers in China are the same,
Yeah, I guess I kind of did.
but ASKT knows that's not true. They use like regional expertise. So, for example, they've got these partners in Bazoo.
Bazoo.
Yeah. They've been making high-quality dining chairs for like over 15 years.
Wow. Yeah.
And they really get European design.
Yeah.
They understand those specific quality standards.
So they're like fluent in like European furniture.
Exactly. So let's say you need a top-notch dining chair sample.
Okay.
ASKT knows exactly who to call.
That's really cool. So it's like they're matchmakers, connecting European buyers with the perfect Chinese suppliers.
That's a great way to put it.
But what about custom designs?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what if you have this vision for a chair with, I don't know, like a built-in foot massager or something?
That's a good one.
Could they handle that?
Totally. In fact, this document is a perfect example of how they do customization.
Mm.
This German client wanted a dining chair with a really specific ergonomic backrest.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, comfort was like the top priority. And guess what? They got a sample of that custom chair in just 10 days.
10 days.
I know, right? That is insanely fast in the furniture world.
Seriously?
It just shows you that their suppliers aren't just factories. They're like partners who can make those unique visions a reality.
Can quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Speed and quality.
That's really impressive, 10 days. But I'm also thinking, wouldn't all this customization like add a ton of time to the process? How do they make it work so efficiently?
Well, one big factor is where the supplier is located.
Okay.
ASKT really prioritizes working with suppliers that are close to where they get their raw materials.
How that makes sense.
Think about it. Like if your supplier has to ship wood from across China and then fabric from another province, that just adds weeks and weeks to the process.
Yeah.
But if they're located right next to the forests and the textile mills, they can start production so much faster.
Yeah, that's super smart. It's like having all the ingredients right there in your pantry.
Exactly. Ready to go.
So you save a ton of time. Okay, speed is awesome, but not if the chair like falls apart after a week, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
How does ASKT ensure that the quality is top-notch even when they're working so quickly?
Well, they're really serious about quality control.
Yeah.
I mean, they only work with factories that are ISO certified.
ISO certified?
That means they meet all these internationally recognized quality standards.
Okay.
So, you're getting a reliable product.
Yeah.
And their whole process is super thorough. It actually starts even before they start building anything.
Really? What do they do before they even start making the furniture?
They do these pre-production checks on all of the materials.
Mm.
So whether it's fabric, metal, wood, even those tiny little screws, they make sure everything is coming from certified suppliers and meets their standards.
Wow. So like quality control from the very beginning.
Yeah, you got to have a strong foundation.
Yeah.
You can't build quality furniture on shaky materials.
That's a good point. But they don't just check the materials once and call it a day, do they?
Oh, no. There are multiple inspections during the actual production process, too.
Wow, so they're like watching every step.
Yeah, they check the construction, the finish, make sure the materials are being used correctly. It's not just set it and forget it.
They're really on top of it.
Right.
So, okay, the sample is built. What happens next? Do they just box it up and ship it off?
Nope. They actually put each piece through a whole bunch of tests.
Really?
Yeah, we're talking load-bearing tests to see how much weight it can handle. They do seat comfort tests, especially important for chairs and sofas.
Of course.
And, of course, they test for overall durability to make sure it can handle everyday use. They put that furniture through boot camp.
They put the furniture through boot camp. I bet those chairs are glad they're not signing up for the Marines. So they've checked the materials, they've inspected the production, and then they put the finished sample through all these tests. What's left?
One final inspection.
Of course.
They go over the sample with a fine-tooth comb, comparing it to the design specs, checking for any imperfections.
Mm.
Only then is it ready to ship.
That's a lot of quality control. No wonder ASKT is known for delivering such high-quality samples. But even with the perfect supplier and a sample that's passed every test, you still have to get that chair from, say, a factory in China to a buyer in Italy.
Right.
That seems like a whole other challenge.
You're telling me. Shipping furniture internationally is no joke.
Yeah.
And that's where ASKT's expertise with logistics really comes in. They've got both expedited and standard shipping options.
Oh, okay, so you have choices.
Yeah, so the buyer can choose what works best for their timeline and their budget.
So if I need that sample like yesterday, I can pay a bit more to get it express delivered.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you've got some time, you can choose the standard option and save some money.
I like having options. That's smart. But they don't just hand the sample off to any random shipping company,
Oh,
right?
no. They work with these global partners who specialize in international shipping, and they know how to handle furniture.
That makes sense. Because shipping furniture internationally means dealing with customs. And that can be a total nightmare. How does ASKT deal with that?
They're pros at navigating customs. They make sure all the paperwork is perfect, and they work with experienced customs brokers.
So they know all the tricks?
Exactly. Their goal is to get your sample to you as quickly and smoothly as possible.
It sounds like they've really thought of everything. Okay, so we've talked about finding the right supplier, making sure the quality is amazing, and handling all the logistics of international shipping.
It's a lot.
But I'm curious, what does the actual sample creation process look like from beginning to end? Where does it all start?
Well, it all starts with an idea, you
Yeah.
know, and that's where the design and customization phase comes in.
Okay.
ASKT works really closely with the buyer to figure out exactly what they want, helping them choose materials, dimensions, colors, all the special details that make the piece unique.
So it's a real collaboration.
Oh, yeah, big time.
They're not just like, here's what we make, take it or leave it.
Not at all. They want to tailor the sample to the buyer's exact needs. So if you want eco-friendly fabrics or a chair with adjustable features, it's all on the table.
I like that a lot. So let's say we've got our design all figured out. What happens next? Do they just go straight to production?
Hold your horses. There's another step. First, prototype creation and testing.
Oh, right, of course.
So they build an initial version of the sample and really put it through its paces.
Makes sense.
This is their chance to catch any problems, get feedback from the buyer, and make sure that final sample is going to be exactly what they had in mind.
It's like a dress rehearsal for the furniture.
I love that. And once that prototype gets the thumbs up, then they move on to final sample production with all those quality control steps we talked about earlier.
Right, so they're making sure that final sample is just as good as their mass-produced items.
Absolutely. Consistency all the way.
This whole process is so thorough. But what happens after the sample is shipped and delivered? Does ASKT just disappear?
Not at all. They're all about building relationships. And that means giving you awesome support even after the sale.
So like if there's a problem with the sample, like a wobbly leg or something wrong with the fabric?
Exactly. They want you to be happy with the final product, so they'll fix any quality issues, make any needed adjustments, and work with you until it's perfect.
That's great. It shows they're not just trying to make a quick buck.
Right. It's about a long-term partnership.
And their support doesn't stop at the sample stage, does it?
Nope. They'll help you through that whole process of getting ready for mass production.
That's pretty cool.
It's like having a furniture fairy godmother by your side.
Uh-huh. I like that. Making sure your dream design becomes reality. Okay, but let's be real. One of the scariest parts of importing anything is dealing with customs.
Oh, tell me about it.
It's like a black hole of paperwork.
You're not wrong. But this is where ASKT's expertise really shines. They're like your personal guide through the customs jungle.
So they don't just hand me a stack of forms and say good luck.
No way. They know all the ins and outs of international shipping rules. They'll make sure you've got the right documents like invoices and certificates of origin.
Yeah.
And they work with these customs brokers who are pros at avoiding problems.
That sounds way less stressful.
That's the goal, to get your sample to you quickly and with no headaches.
So they've really streamlined everything, from finding the supplier to dealing with customs. Is there anything else they do to make the whole experience even better?
One thing that stood out to me in this document is how much they emphasize communication.
Oh, that's good.
They believe in keeping you informed every step of the way.
So no wonder if my sample is lost at sea.
Exactly. They give each client a dedicated project manager.
Oh, nice. So like my personal furniture concierge?
Pretty much. Someone who speaks your language and can answer all your questions. And they have a whole team that speaks multiple languages.
Oh, wow.
So you don't have to worry about any language barriers. Whether you speak English, Chinese, or anything else, they'll make
Yeah.
sure you understand what's going on.
That's huge because it builds trust when you can communicate easily.
For sure. And they don't just give you updates at the beginning and end.
Yeah.
They keep you in the loop throughout the whole process.
Like, how often are we talking?
Well, once you've approved the design, you get updates every 48 hours on how production is going.
That's awesome. So they're always just a message away.
Right. So you never have to wonder what's happening with your sample.
Hmm.
And they use all kinds of communication tools.
Like what? Email? Video calls?
Yeah, all that email, WhatsApp, WeChat, video calls, you name it.
Wow, they really do seem to have it all figured out.
It's pretty impressive how they've taken something that's usually so complicated and stressful
Yeah.
and made it into a smooth and efficient process.
Eh,
And they haven't sacrificed quality at all.
they've really cracked the code.
They have. It's a great example of what happens when you combine specialization communication and a focus on the customer.
So let's think about this from the listener's perspective. What does all this mean for someone who's thinking about sourcing furniture from China? What are the big takeaways?
I think the biggest takeaway is don't just focus on the price tag.
Yeah, you get what you pay for.
Yeah, exactly. Find a company with a good track record, a real commitment to quality, and a dedication to clear communication.
So find someone you can trust.
Yeah, someone who will be there for you every step of the way, just like ASKT.
It's like having a trusted advisor to help you navigate all the complicated stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even though their expertise is in furniture, I think there are lessons here for anyone who wants to source anything from overseas.
Like what?
Electronics, clothing,
Yeah.
anything. Finding the right supplier, clear communication, rigorous quality control, efficient logistics. Those are essential for success no matter what you're importing.
It all comes down to finding a partner you can trust to help you through it all.
Exactly. And that pretty much covers ASKT's approach to furniture sourcing. But there's more to this deep dive.
It really makes you think about all the work that goes into getting like a chair or sofa from a factory in China all the way to our homes.
Yeah, it's easy to forget about all the steps involved.
Yeah, for sure. But this deep dive has got me thinking about more than just furniture. Like, what about all the other stuff we use every day? Our phones, our clothes, even the coffee we drink.
Oh, yeah.
They all have their own crazy journeys, don't they?
Every single one. Each product has its own supply chain and its own story of how it got to you.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about the network of people and processes and all the logistics involved.
The whole world behind the scenes.
Like, think about a simple t-shirt. The cotton might be grown in one country, the fabric made in another, the shirt sewn together somewhere else and then shipped across the globe.
Right, and that's just one example.
It's crazy. When you really start to think about it, you realize just how complex these global systems are and how much they impact everything.
It's not just about the product itself.
Exactly. It affects economies, environments, even cultures.
It's all connected.
So it's like we're not just buying things, we're part of this global network.
We are.
And as consumers, I think it's important to be aware of that.
Definitely. We need to understand where our products come from and how our choices impact the world.
So it's about asking questions, doing our research, and supporting companies that are doing things the right way.
You got it.
So the next time you're shopping, whether it's online or in a store, take a minute to think about the journey of those products.
Yeah, where did it come from? How did it get here?
It might just change how you see the world.
And your place in it.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into furniture sourcing.
I hope you learned something new.
I know I did. It's amazing how much goes on behind the scenes to bring us the things we use every day.
It is.
So until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.